video, we updated our random encounter, we added a random encounter area, we created that script, and updated our game state to save and restore the player position. Now, in order to really get it working, we need to do some things to the player. So let's go into our player script. Or player scene, sorry, not a player script, player scene. One thing that we need to add is let me go to 3D so I can see it. We're going to need to add a new area 3D. So add a child node, type in area 3D. Go ahead and try to focus in on this area 3D. We're going to add a collision shape 3D to it, and that is going to be a box. Doesn't have to be that large. We'll go with something like that, just something that recognizes it's in the area. Something about like that should be fine. Alright, this is going to be called, what did I call it? Step check area. There we go. Alright, and let's see. I guess it's time to get to coding. So let's go to our player. Well, go ahead and save this. Go to your player controller script. So you can either click on it here or you can go find it through the list here. So there's gonna be a lot of changes or additions rather. So just be patient. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna ready up our step check area. Add a few private variables. Oops. That's what I want to do. So what we're doing is with these variables, right, is we're going to actually tell it when it's ready to start counting steps. We're going to set a timer, and we're saying every 0.2, right, then it's going to register a step. Otherwise, every frame is going to register a step, and they are always consistently going to be in a battle. So that's what I discovered I needed to do, is I needed to set up a timer and tell it how long before it registers the player taking a step. There was also some issues physics-wise that we're going to fix, where it was trying to load in the or start running the it wanted to load in the player before the physics engines even started running, so it messed some things up there. So that's what we're going to be fixing as well while we're going through this. So this first bit is going to tell it to wait 2 frames to be 100% sure that the tree and physics have access, that the players in the tree and the physics can access it. So I'm going to say set physics process. Oops, and that's going to be, we're going to first set it to false. We're turning it off manually. to set is fully ready to true because we've done it all manually to turn it on. And then we're going to say set process to true. Like that. And then return stats is going to be fine. Now, in physics processes where there's going to be a good bit of changes, so what we're going to do is start with up above the vector 3.0. We're going to say if not is fully ready, then don't do anything. We're going to do that with a return line. The next thing we're going to do is we need to check to see, make sure that the steps are being detected. So for me it's line 37. I'm going to go to the end and press enter. Really what you want to look for is this look at global transform.origin minus input direction and passing vector 3.up. Wherever that line is in your code, go to the end and press enter because we're going to add a few things in between this line and this line. So if step check area and step check area dot is inside tree, and for area and step check area dot get overlapping areas. So we're going to look to see where it's overlapping. If the area has method method register step, then area dot register step. Let's see. I think, oh, that right there. There we go. Alright, and just for me and my neatness, I want to put a space right there. Alright, so what this is doing is checking for this, it's looking for the step check area, and it's making sure that it's inside the tree, inside the scene. So, and for the area inside of step check area, we're going to get the overlapping areas. And then we're going to look to see if the area has the method register step, which I believe we put in the last video on our encounter area right here. So a random encounter script, which is right there. So we're saying if it has that method, then run that, and then run it. That's what we're telling it to do. And so now we should be able to save it and test it out. Alright, so let's go into our dungeon scene and press play. Oh, alright, what do we got here? Non-existent function get current scene in capital S. Oh, whoops, mistyped this. Alright, so small mistake from the last video. Apparently there's a typo in this line here. Variable player equals get tree dot get current scene dot get node player. I had a capital S there, so make sure it's lowercase. Remember, punctuation, capitalization, spelling all matter when writing your code. So let's try this again. We should see. So it goes to the player. Now we don't see the scene that I created, which is fine for right now. I'll explain that. I'll fix that in a minute. And it should. Alright, so it's not restarting, which that's fine for right now, but it does trigger it. Let's go ahead and fix the battle scene. So what the issue is in the battle scene is we don't have a camera. That's why. So it's only going to the UI, because the UI has a built-in camera to see it on the screen, right? Built in behind the scenes on it. So the way we're going to fix that is click on your root node. Mine is called battle scene. And we're going to add a camera 3D to it. Now, I want to figure out where it's going to be at. So we're going to go here. And probably about here. Actually, no. Yeah. Do that. And kind of angle it down a little bit, right like that. Now let's just give it a quick run through and see what we see. Alright, there we go. Alright, we are seeing it. The player's still not spawning, so we gotta do that, but we will. But there's something we gotta do first. So, one of the issues you're gonna run into is we need a separate player, because if we use the same player, then he's gonna have all the movement and everything else to it, and it's really gonna make things awkward. It's not gonna be traditional JRPG, right? So what we're going to do is create a duplicate of the player. So I'm going to take this player here and press Control D, and I'm going to name this player Battle, and I'm going to press Duplicate. I'm going to open up that scene right there. There we go. Alright, where is it inheriting from? Yeah, that's fine. Alright, what I am going to do though is I'm going to take off the step check here because I don't need that. And this is only on player battle, and I'm going to remove the script. Okay, and then we're going to press Control S and save that. And you can go ahead and close him now. That wall's from a few videos back. I don't really need the battle UI right now. And we're good. Alright, let's get into our battle manager. So let's go back to our dungeon just for right now. Go to scripts, open up our battle manager, and as you see, it's pretty bare. We're gonna fix that. So what we're going to end up doing is a public variable where we're going to be looking for the battle player that we just created. If I could spell player scene, it's going to be a packed scene that we're going to have preloaded, and that is going to be this guy. So click on your player battle scene, copy path, and paste that right in between these guys right there. Next thing we need to do is basically change the rest of this for now. But we'll add it lit back later on. So we want to change the game state of in battle to be true. Alright, now we're going to add a call deferred to make sure that we get everything in. And that function is going to be spawn player, and that's a big phrase battle, which is fine. I'm making these functions basically long and exactly what they're doing just because I failed to write comments in the beginning videos, and it seemed a little silly to just start now. So basically I'm trying to make all my functions to be exactly what it's going to be doing, so that you guys are aware of what these functions will be doing. So we're gonna add a check that if the player, that way if the player isn't in the scene, we're gonna, that way it'll tell us, hey, something's wrong, the player's not loading in. Right, so this check right here should tell you that to check your path, right? To make sure that your path up here is correct. Otherwise, what it's gonna do is it's gonna look for the spawn point. Get node or null is what we want, and that's going to be the player spawn point. Make sure it's spelled properly. And if not spawn point, then we're gonna tell it to send us another error specifically to tell us what's wrong with it. And that error in this case is going to be player spawn point not found in scene. I want to make this as user friendly for you guys as possible, so that's why we're adding in all these like errors, error phrases to push. So we're telling it that way you, if can't find something, this is going to tell you guys, especially if you're new to Godot or game development, Godot specifically, it'll tell you guys what to look for, right? If you run that error, otherwise, player instance player scene instantiate, and then we're gonna tell it to pass another error if it can't instantiate the player. And again, you shouldn't run into these issues, but I wanted to, just because sometimes when I explain things I get a little bit of a squirrel moment and things and lose my train of thought or don't explain it properly. I wanted to make sure that in these videos, specifically for the battle systems, and maybe for the rest of them, that I build in these messages to help you guys diagnose errors that you might see. Alright, so get tree process frame. Now we're gonna add a child. That's gonna be the player instance. Alright, and then let's see. Await get tree physics frame player instance global position equals spawn point global position. Alright, now if this way you can see where in the world space the player is spawning. Player spawn at, and then we're gonna pass the player instance dot global position. That'll fix that. And now we're gonna get our timer going so that we can go back to our what's it called? Our dungeon scene, because we haven't set up the turn-based battle system yet, which we'll do, if not in the next video, in the video afterwards because we still have to create an enemy for it, right? So I have one already picked out and we'll talk about that in the next video. And then our overworld scene path. And I added extra parentheses in there again. Alright. So let's save this. So these are our variables, right? Our dungeon scene, which is called overworld scene path, and then the player battle that we created when we duplicated the player. In the ready function, we're setting the in battle variable to true, and we're going to be calling this function. Okay, we're deferring the call because we want to wait a few seconds before it starts. We're going to make sure the player's scene was preloaded, and if it's not, if there's issues, then we're going to let us know. It's going to let us know, but there shouldn't be. It's just kind of like a backup. We're going to check to make sure the spawn point is in the scene, which if we look at our battle scene, it is, right? So that should be fine. And then where are we at? Whoop. It is looking for the name player spawn point, so I do need to actually change that to player spawn point though. There we go. Alright, if it doesn't find it, it's going to tell us that it's going to find it in the scene, and then we're going to look instantiate the player, and if it can't, then it's going to tell us that it can't instantiate the player, so that gives you some starting points in case you run into errors. Then we're going to tell it to add the player as an instance, right? So we're going to tell it, all right, now I want you to process this frame, and the frame is adding the child. Then we're going to process the physics frame, and that's going to be my making. Then we're going to set the player position to the spawn position, and it's going to tell us where it spawned at. And then we're going to start the timer, and when the timer ends, we're going to set the battle game in battle back to false, which should allow us then to restart the foot count and be able to re-enter a new battle. And it's going to send us back to the old world. So that's how that's all supposed to work. Let's go ahead and save stuff, go back to our dungeon, and give it a nice little test. And preview. And there we are. We gotta fix the camera. That's gonna be a simple fix. But we're going back, we're returning to the scene. It's resetting the steps, and we're counting. Now it is a little fast for me, so you could dial down the counter rate you want, or increase the minimum and maximum steps if you wanted to, or you could hard code it if you wanted to do it that way instead. Alright, Chris here again with a last minute addition to this video. We finally fixed the issue with the fast or the battle, the encounter loop that we were experiencing. So turns out that I wasn't setting the timer properly. So if you're adjusting your settings over here on the right and it's still happening really fast, then that's why. So just for this, I'm going to go ahead and make this 0.25, right? So that's going to be basically 25 seconds between the checks, all right? The cooldown between the checks. What we're going to do is inside of here, what I'm going to do is add a timer. So it's going to say step timer plus equals delta. I'm just going to throw an error, and that's because up here we have an underscore delta, but we are going to remove that underscore and we're going to put delta right there. And then what we're going to say is in we're going to say if step timer less than or equal to step interval, then step timer is going to equal 0.0. Then all of this is going to get tabbed over to the right, like so. And that should fix it. And so we're going to test it out. It should at some point. There we go. Enters the battle. Goes back. Just to make sure that we can still enter a battle. And we can. So there you go. Alright. Now that that's fixed. There are going to be some errors in here that I haven't been able to figure out why I'm getting them. So once I figure out why I'm getting these errors specifically, these inside tree errors, and this body space, get space error, once I figure that out, because it all points to the move inside, so it's something above here that I'm doing and I don't know what. Once I figure that out, I will create a video and let you guys know. If you do know, then let me know in the comments, so I can fix it too, and then everybody learns together, which is really kind of the point of this channel. But let's go ahead into our battle scene. Let's move this guy over. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna press here and go to my snaps. That way it snaps nicely. I'm gonna move the player over here, kind of in the center, maybe back a little bit, and then the enemy, I'm gonna go ahead and move over this way. Now, if we go to our scene, there we go, much better. Alright, so that's it for this video. We got the encounter system working, we got it returning back, player spawns. The next video we'll create the enemy and make sure that's working, and then we'll also hopefully, if there's time, we'll also get the turn-based battle system actually working, where we can attack, make choices to attack, defend, etc. So I'll see you until then. Keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.